Welcome to this PowerPoint on tips for writing complete sentences. In this video, you will learn helpful tips for how to accomplish that. Complete sentences are the key to effective communication. First, it is important to understand why writing complete sentences matters. In this age of texting and posting on social networks, many of us are used to writing short bits of information in an abbreviated form. However, in an academic environment where you may have to write an essay, research paper, or even an email to your professor, complete sentences are very important because they help you communicate your ideas clearly. You want to make sure that your message is understood by your audience. If you have good ideas but are not able to clearly write these ideas, then you may be misunderstood. By writing grammatically correct complete sentences, you are more likely to provide clear and effective information. So what exactly is a complete sentence? A complete sentence, sometimes referred to also as an independent clause, must have three items: a subject, a verb, and a complete thought. All three of these are needed to make up a complete sentence. The verb is the action happening in the sentence. The subject is the person or object doing this action. A complete thought means that no information is missing from the sentence and that it makes sense. When trying to determine if you have a complete sentence, first, look for the verb. The verb is a word that specifies action, state of being, or occurrence. There are lots of different verbs in the English language. Here are just a few examples. Forgot, contacted, and swears are all common verbs. While it is not unusual to have more than one verb in a sentence, here are some examples of complete sentences that use these sample verbs to indicate action happening in a sentence. Mary forgot to turn in her essay. She contacted the instructor to ask if she could turn it in late. Mary also forgot to read the class policy about late work provided on the syllabus. She swears she will never forget an assignment again. Remember that the verb must also have someone or something doing this action when you are trying to figure out if a sentence is complete or not. Next, let's look at a subject. A simple subject is going to be either a noun or a pronoun. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. For example, Mary is a person. A pronoun is a word to replace the noun. So instead of using Mary, we could also use the word she to replace her name. Here are some examples of complete sentences that use these sample subjects to indicate who is doing the action in a sentence. Mary dreams about hamburgers. She loves eating them. Mary goes to Burger King every day for lunch. Once you have determined that you have a verb and subject, next you need to make sure you have a complete thought. Believe it or not, you can have a verb and a subject, but only having two of the three items required does not ensure that you have a complete sentence. A complete thought means that no information is missing. One fast way to figure out if you have a complete thought or not is to ask yourself the following. If I went up to someone and repeated these words, would that person know what I was saying? Here are examples of a group of words that have subjects and verbs but are not sentences because they are not complete thoughts. Until Mary ate her hamburger. After she left Burger King. Which she took home in a to-go bag. Notice how all three of these examples leave out very important information and make us wondering what the true meaning is supposed to be. All of these have subjects and verbs, but if you walked up to someone and said, "Until Mary ate her hamburger," it would not make any sense because you have not finished the thought. It is incomplete. Here are the same groups of words, but now they have all three required items: a subject, a verb, and a complete thought. Until Mary ate her hamburger, she would not go home and do her homework. After she left Burger King, Mary went back to school to study at the tutoring center. She had some leftovers, which she took home in a to-go bag. Finally, when you have written a complete sentence, make sure that the first letter of the first word in the sentence starts with a capital letter. Writing in all lowercase letters is not correct grammar and can cause confusion. In addition, Make sure to have correct punctuation at the end, either a period, question mark, or exclamation point. If you are making a statement, a period should follow the last word in the sentence. If you are asking a question mark should follow the last word in the sentence. For expressions of strong emotion, end the sentence with an exclamation point. Most often, you will probably just end your sentence with a period when you are writing for school assignments. If you want to make sure your ideas are clear and understood, especially when it comes to writing for a class or even just sending an email to your professor, first double check that whatever you write includes complete sentences that start with a capital letter and end with correct punctuation. Remember the 3 required items: a subject, a verb, and a complete thought. And here's an example for you. Dear Professor, thank you so much for allowing me to turn in my essay 2 days late. I will make sure in the future to pay closer attention to assignment due dates. Sincerely, Mary. This is a complete sentence, 2 complete sentences, one with an exclamation point, one with a period. They both are complete thoughts. If you sent a message like this to your professor and it had fragments instead, you would be leaving your professor with a very poor first impression, and your professor would probably also be confused about what you were actually trying to say to them. So you can avoid that by always being careful to write complete sentences.